here in time after her final or not. I may finish this up as well. It kind of depends. So I've been living here in Marshall for about 5 years, 6 years, 6.5, something like that. A certain number of years, less than this many fingers, but more than this many fingers. So I've been living here for a while, and I've always loved the holidays. But when I was growing up, the holidays and the way we celebrated Christmas was a little bit different than the way we celebrate it now with my family. So growing up, Christmas was always a big deal for us. So we'd always go to church the night before, and so we would sleep in Christmas morning. And that was a big deal because in my family, we didn't sleep in. So I grew up 7 miles south of the town I lived in, so that meant I was riding the bus for an hour before I got to school. And when you ride the bus for an hour, that means you don't get up at 7 o'clock to go to school at 8. No. I got up at 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that, and I'm on the bus by about 6:45, 7 o'clock. Because I had that long bus ride with all those lucky city kids. They're like, oh, I had to get up like 10 minutes ago. Like, shut up, you don't even know hardship. Like, I get out to the bus. Anyway, so usually we're up at 6 o'clock in the morning, right? And on weekends, sleeping in for us was 6:30. Because we had a lot of stuff to do. We had 3 acres of land to do. I mean, it's not like we had like farm stuff. We were farm adjacent, so like lots of cows and like corn and stuff around us. But like, we didn't have farm stuff. But my parents grew up on a farm. Like my mom was a farm kid, my dad was a farm kid. So they always had stuff. So we were always up at 6:30. By 7 o'clock, we'd already eaten pancakes and eggs and sausage. We were out the door doing stuff. Like whether that was getting the house dusted or like cutting down tree limbs or cleaning up something, I don't know, we were always doing something, right? Christmas morning was different. We slept in until 7 o'clock. It was insane. That extra half an hour was just nuts, right? So we got to sleep in that whole time. And sometimes at 7 o'clock, my parents weren't even up, which was a big deal because my mom always got up at 5 a.m. and I knew when she got up because I was never smart enough to close my door, and in through my door, into my bedroom, like the bathroom light would just shine right through and right on my face. I'm like, Mom, why don't you close the door to the bathroom? She's like, why don't you close the door to your bedroom? I'm like, I'm not smart enough to do that. So it's constant struggle back and forth, right? So she was usually up at 5, but Christmas morning she was sleeping in a little bit, right? Because I mean, she was tired, right? She'd been tired for some reason. I had no idea why, right? So she'd get up a little bit later than I would, and that was okay. Because I knew that she got to sleep in and that we were going to watch this great movie called Christmas Comes But Once a Year. Have you ever seen that movie? It's this great little like animated film. It's got these little kids in like an orphanage, and they're so sad because all their Christmas presents are broken because they were all donated and they were donated because they were broken. It's just like the most sad commentary on poverty that I've ever heard. But then there's this like inventor guy that comes in and like he like creates these toys with all their like kitchen pots and pans and teacups and stuff, and like the little kids like Christmas comes but once a year, now it's here, now it's here, right? This is like great like chipmunks-esque kind of film, and it's beautiful as long as you don't think too hard about the fact that now they can't make any food in this orphanage anymore. It's really a cool story, right? So we had this movie on VHS, and I remember distinctly when we got this VHS because it was just this great new thing. We could watch that VHS before we would open Christmas presents. Now, opening Christmas presents at my house was an ordeal. Like, we have 6 people in my family growing up, right? And each person would get their carefully stacked pile of presents delivered one by whoever was the youngest person who could also read. For a long time, that was me. Then it became my little brother, and I just got to like sit back in all the glory of all my presents, right? And we go youngest to oldest, each person opening one present really carefully. And I always hated when my older brother Matt would open up his presents because he was one of those that like just peels up the side and then looks in and, well, thank you for the gift, and wouldn't show anybody. I'm like, just show us what the present was. Why won't you share things with us? Like, oh, that was a whole experience, right? So opening presents, we all got to go around the circle and open them one at a time. And this was pretty significant because, I mean, this would take a while. Like, we would have a lot of presents to open. My mom always made Christmas a really big deal for us. So we knew that we wouldn't get to eat breakfast until after this, but it didn't matter, even though we knew breakfast was going to be really good. So we had this thing that we would make growing up called whatchamacallits for Christmas morning breakfast, and it was a layer of fresh hash browns that were crispy on the outside and then really soft on the inside. And then it'd be a ham steak, because it's breakfast, so you need to have a ham steak, of course. And then poached eggs, not like real poached eggs, because like that's really hard to make for like 1 million people, and you need 2 per thing, and like There's 6 of us. It's like, oh, so like my mom had these like little things that would go in and like boil the eggs, these little cups. It was kind of like poached eggs, but kind of not really like poached eggs either, but it was delicious. You cover the whole thing with hollandaise sauce. It was amazing, right? So you have like the egg yolk, and you have the hollandaise sauce, and you eat this whole bite. It's so good. But one year my mom said that's not enough food for us at Christmas morning breakfast. So she also made monkey bread, and that became the other tradition of monkey bread and whatchamacallits. And basically just drinking creamer and like just all these, it was the most amazing breakfast, right? So you knew that was gonna come after the presents. The presents always came first. So one particular year, it was before we were watching Christmas Council once year, so we were a little annoyed that Mom and Dad took so long to do it. We didn't have that yet. So we were going around and opening up presents. And that year I'd gotten a couple of bigger items, so I had fewer presents than my brothers and sister. And I had gotten done opening my presents, and when you finished up opening your presents, you got to go to the family presents in the center, and you got to open those up. So those were always gifts that someone had gotten for all of us. And since I had gotten through all of my presents, it was my turn to open up a family gift. So I would choose one that's probably the biggest one in the box, right? So I pull it over, and it's this box. So I unwrap it, and everyone is so excited. They're just flipping out. They are so excited for this thing that's in this box. And I have no idea what it is. So I'm like, Mom, what is everyone so excited about? And she's like, well, read it. So I read it, and I sound it out, because I'm at that point in my reading ability. I'd gotten ahead of the presents because I was old enough to read, but still didn't have this one. So I said, it's a Mom, what's a VCR? And everybody just dies laughing. And I'm now mad, because this is an exciting thing. Everybody's really excited about this present. They're so excited. Now they're all laughing at me. And that's just mean, right? She's like, well, just try and sound it out again. You know, she's laughing because it's funny, right? My brother's just hooting and hollering over there. I'm like, you can shut up. You're not opening up your presents. Just don't even, right? So I try and sound it out again. I'm like, VCR. And I just keep saying it over and over again. I can't figure out what it is, and they're trying to tell me, and I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm so mad, right? Because I can't figure this out, and they're making fun of me. And finally, my mom says, try it one more time. Okay. Mom, what is this thing? She's like, Julie, it's a VCR. And I'm like, what's a VCR? Because I don't know. I mean, this is back in the day before we had Netflix and streaming and everything else, right? So she explains it to me, and she takes it out of the box, and then she takes out this other little rectangle. And on the rectangle, it says the name of the movie, and the movie's name is Christmas Comes But Once a Year. She says, you put this rectangle into that rectangle, and then you can watch shows on the TV. You mean like, I don't have to wait for the show that I want to come on to be the show that I get to watch? She says, no! And you know what? It has a remote. I said, what's a remote? Because at this point, the TV I had, you had to press the numbers that you wanted from the analog channels, and you had to change it by switching the little turn knob, and to turn it on, you had to pull the little knob out. So this was just revolutionizing my world, and from that Christmas on, I knew that when I woke up a little earlier than my mom and dad, I'd always have something to watch, and I would never be annoyed that